Do you want to proceed and hold any voting matters till the end?
Okay, yeah, let's do that. This is our recording, so.
Oh, we got one more. Brian joined.
All right, so that puts the count up to 9. So I'll go ahead and share my screen and we'll go through what we can.
Thank you. Lynn, whenever we hit the quorum, just let me know and then we'll just call the roll.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, can everyone see that?
Yes.
Fantastic. Then do you want to run through the agenda?
I will do that. We will hold on approval of the meeting minutes from March 13th and March 27th until we have a quorum. I'll go through a quick project budget update, and then I'll turn it over to RDA to provide a design update. Before that, I'll go through the permitting update that we have to date, and Jean can help me with that. And then just an overall design update. We will also let Consigli provide any construction activity update, as well as go through a schedule update. Next. We'll skip these two for now. In terms of the project budget status report, you should have received it in your monthly report packet. We have 8% of the budget committed to date, and we have expended 5% of those commitments. We are, in terms of the 60% construction document progress, we're at about 12.5%. And construction documents began in April, actually, probably a couple of weeks before that, but we're working toward completion near the end of June and looking to revise our submission date to MSBA to July 12th. Next. In terms of cash flow to date, our in terms of total expenditure, our projected was at $8,292,571, and our actual expenditures are hitting $7,803,830. It's not that far off, and you'll see that it starts to level out and grow toward our projected amount. Next. In terms of the regulatory permitting overview, we did receive the order of conditions from the Conservation Commission on March 19th. We also received our MEPA E&F certificate on April 16th. The Article 97 process was complete with the mayor's signature, the governor's signature on May 3rd. The bill has also been recorded in the Registry of Deeds. Our MEPA SEIR was submitted today. Our MWRA 8M permit was revised and filed on May 8th. Is in progress. We've been receiving comments over the last couple of days. Our enabling bid package number 1, or pre-GMP 1, is awaiting signatures from the city. And the SEIR is scheduled to be published in the Environmental Monitor on May 22nd. We expect to have that in the Monitor over the next 30 days. And then I think they have a final 7-day period before issuing the certificate. So we anticipate that no later than June 30th. And we're looking to start construction on sometime mid-June, I believe. So next. Jean, do you want to take these slides?
Sorry, I would. And Craig, will you let me share my screen? I think it'll be a little easier.
Yep. Hold on one second.
Thank you.
there you go.
All right, thank you so much. Let me see, I'm gonna put this into slideshow. Oh, dear goodness. Give me a sec, guys. Sorry about that. So the last time we were with you, we had this slide up. A couple of the items were in red, which means we had to deal with them. And everything is in black. So the bottom line is that we submitted our design development submission to the MSBA. I don't know if it was 1,800 or 2,000 pages, whatever it was, with all the reports on March 28th. And we had the final layout of the building with the room types and the changes we had made and shown you. We verified that the building envelope, which is the walls and the roof, comply with the updated energy code, which is very strict. We had fully designed the structural framing for the building and got all the columns and braces into the floor plan. We also had all the HVAC systems. There's a bunch of rooftop units, and we had the duct shafts going down through the building, and all the ceiling heights were fine with the ducts that we were showing. And obviously we had finalized the building footprint and the site plan. So that's all the stuff we showed you back in March. And you guys approved it on March 13th. We made the submission on the 28th of March. Then what happens is MSBA takes that submission and they, between their in-house staff and one of their consultants, they review the whole submission and they issued us comments on the 26th. I don't know, might have been 20 or 30 pages worth of comments. And what we do then on your behalf is we respond to all the comments. And some of them are very helpful, and some of them we just tell them where they can find information that they might not have seen. So we sent that on April 28th. We typically don't hear back from them. They just want to be on the record that they did a review and made comments and have us acknowledge the comments. One of the updates that happened in DD is that we had added a couple spaces for special education, and we had moved some around. So we needed to secure a Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, DESE, SPED approval letter, which the district helped us revamp their special education plan, and we submitted it with a whole bunch of documentation, and DESE approved it on May 9th. So we're pretty much in the clear as far as DD. And then Lynn went through a lot of the permitting stuff, but to be honest, it's been a big focus of our work since we last saw you in March. So we submitted the final site plan to the Conservation Commission, and they were they were great. They approved the plan on March 19th. Then we went through a process, a site plan review committee process that the city has. And that committee approved our site plan on April 23rd. As Lynn mentioned, we made our first submission to MEPA, which is a state kind of regulatory body. And we received their approval on April 16th. And that's a pretty major milestone. We still have another submission to make to MEPA, which we made today, Lynn mentioned. But we're kind of in a good place with that one, and it's very complicated. And then I think, as also Lynn said, the governor signed your Article 97 petition on May 3rd. So, here's the governor's signature, and here's the MEPA certificate. So again, it's been a big focus of our work. As Lynn mentioned, we anticipate, we had to do a single environmental impact report submission, which went into MEPA today. That was the second. And we anticipate, that we'll have the final certificate on around June 30th. That's when the comment period expires. So meanwhile, Consigli kind of gearing up to start construction, and I'm going to go through some 3D images of how the process might work. And I got to give Consigli credit because they actually have been great about providing these for us. But one of the big things is we have this MWRA 8M permit. And what it is we have this MWRA pipe that serves Swampscott and Marblehead, and it goes under the site, well, through Magnolia Park, and this is where we're going to build our building outside, their zone of influence. But until they need to be assured that anything we do on top of their pipe, whether it's a driveway or just driving a crane across it, won't put a lot of pressure on that pipe and cause any damage to it. So we submitted on May 8th an application to them so that we could have 3 temporary crossings in yellow here, which will allow, you'll see Consigli is still going to stage down on Magnolia Park, have all the parking and any supplies. But when they get into constructing the new Pickering or the work this summer behind Sisson, they actually need to build little bridges so that, when they have a piece of heavy equipment, they can cross, and the bottom of the bridge will be 3 inches below or above. The bottom of the bridge would be 3 inches above the soil. So we have to prove to MWRA that we're putting absolutely no load onto that pipe. And that permit was submitted May 8th. We don't know if it's a couple weeks away or a month away, but that is in process. And part of that is MWRA says, hey, put some vibration monitors on our pipe so that, I don't know, when you're driving around or you're putting pilings in, we're sure the pipe's not getting jiggled. So anyway, that's kind of yet another permitting thing that we're in the middle of. And
Dean, can I interrupt for 1 second?
yeah, you sure can, Craig. Yeah.
Someone joined a few moments ago from a phone, and depending on who it is, we may have a quorum.
Counselor
Lorraine
Jack
Gately.
Williams. Yeah.
Oh, Diana, Lorraine Gately's trying to join too as well, just to give you the heads up.
Fantastic. Okay, so since Diana is here, we do have a quorum. Mr. Mayor, if you'd like, we can go through the roll call.
Yes, please.
Fantastic.
Just a heads up, member Gately's hopping on here too, just to give you just if you can wait a second, because
Okay.
she's hopping on.
Okay, great.
Do you want to scroll back up for now? And after we do roll call, go ahead and do the minutes.
Sure.
Well, why don't we start the roll and we'll
Yes, we'll
yeah.
pick up Lorraine if she joins later.
definitely
Great. All right, Mayor Nicholson,
present.
Dr. Alvarez,
Present.
Mr. Bertino, Mr. Castellanos,
Present.
Ms. Jacutis,
Present.
Mr. Donovan,
Present.
Ms. Drago,
Present.
Ms. Gately. We'll come back. Ms. Gerardo, Mr. Kolakidis,
Present.
Mr. LaPierre, Mr. Makua,
Present.
Mr. Mannion,
Present.
Mr. Marlin, Mayor McGee, Mr. Meany, Ms. Miller, Mr. Ridley, Mr. Rittershouse,
Present.
Ms. Ruggiero,
Present.
and Mr. Smart. So that gives us 11, even without Lorraine, which is a quorum.
Great. Is there what's the will of the committee on the minutes?
Motion to approve?
For a second?
Thank you.
Second. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
And then there's one more set of meeting minutes. Gene, if you'd flip to the next page. So this is for the March 27th meeting.
Lauren, was that motion for both the minutes or just one? We'll take another motion then for the next minutes, yeah.
Motion to accept the 27th of March 2024 meetings. Minutes.
There's a
I'll
second?
second it. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Thank you all.
Good job. Was there anything else, Lynn, that you needed to go through before I kept going?
No, but Lorraine just sent me a message to have her join the link. I'll send it now,
Okay.
but go ahead.
Hey, having gone through all that and seen Flory, I just want to say, Flory, when you sent us comments based on our, the design development drawings you had looked at, I do want to say, like, there was a really good one, which is we had an electric water heater in the building, and Flory asked if it should be an heat pump water heater. And we went through that with our mechanical engineer, and he said if it was air source, maybe not, but since you're doing ground source, it makes a lot of sense. So it'll be more efficient, and obviously a better life cycle cost analysis. So thank you for that. The other
That's
ones,
great. Thank you, Flory.
yeah, that was really, really good. So where I left off is, we're in the process of waiting for MWRA to give Consigli permission to, cross their water line, but it's not a huge issue. And we couldn't file that permit until we had a site contractor on board. And the contractor actually does the design. So if you're kind of wondering about the timing, that's why we're just in the middle of that last permit. So this is, kind of highlighted in purple is where the MWRA line is. And what I'm showing here, actually Consigli did this diagram. So again, I want to give a shout out to them, but the existing Pickering Middle School is here and here. The Sisson is this wing, and this is the Sisson play area and the tennis court. So what we're going to be doing this summer, and even before school gets out, is as soon as we kind of get everything online and a building permit behind Sisson. I don't know if you remember, but this grade up here is, I don't know if it's 12 feet, 15 feet above Magnolia Park. So over on this side, you can see when the finished product, when you come out of Sisson, we're going to have a ramp system that brings you down. So everything's handicapped accessible. And then there'll also be a stair for able-bodied people, and you can see a retaining wall. So this playground is the final, kind of configuration. But since next, I don't know, next fall when they come back, we hope that we're digging into their existing play area so we can start the foundations and the steel for the new Pickering. So we need to construct that whole ramp system and retaining wall and then get as much play area down here at the Magnolia Park level as possible. So that work may start in June when school is still in session. But if we don't have these permits yet from MWRA, it's not a disaster. It just means that Consigli will have to bring kind of heavy equipment in from Broadway. But meanwhile, they can still be out on Magnolia Park since you have the Article 97, and they can be parking, their vehicles, they can be staging stuff, and they can kind of, I'll say walk over, the MWRA. They can drive light vehicles, obviously, but so for a while there, while school is in session, there probably will be some construction work in here if we're to have it done by September. But the heavy equipment may come in behind Pickering. And right now there's some Pickering parking, maybe Sisson parking back here. And that's gonna have to kind of be relocated up to the municipal parking lot. And then they can just walk down and, get into the building. So it's a little bit further away, but you're kind of lucky you have that safety valve. And that'll allow, this work to start in June instead of waiting till July. Meanwhile, the Sisson Elementary School is still playing up on their hard surface and the playground. So that's kind of May, June. Maybe it ends up being June, but then in July, August.
Gene, sorry to interrupt again. Flory had his hand up.
Oh, I'm sorry, Flory.
Sorry, just a quick question. Is the ramp and the stairs a temporary measure, or this will remain?
This will remain because this whole area that's in orange.
Yep.
And this is an emergency drive only. That'll probably be painted also, Flory. But this is the new Sisson playground that's going to replace the existing one.
Okay.
So-
The reason why I'm asking that, as most of you guys know, I did go to Pickering for middle school, but I know Sisson does not have an auditorium. And there was some shared spaces that they use for Pickering. So how would emergency or the auditorium, if they have to use Pickering for any events, how would the kids from Sisson get to the school?
Well, the Sisson and Pickering kind of are up at the same high
Right, I'm
elevation.
talking about the new Pickering, the new building. How
Oh,
would they
the
get
new-
in from the?
When the new Pickering is done, Flory,
Yeah.
it'll be the second floor of Pickering is actually, you can go out a door on the back side. And
Yep.
you can just walk, you could either walk into the end of Pickering, Sisson, or you could just walk down and go in to Pickering.
And on that west elevation, is there an elevator over there or a ramp that would get them to the auditorium or cafeteria on the ground floor?
There is not currently, no.
So right, so that is why I'm raising this concern now. So if Sisson ever have to use Pickering larger space, cafeteria or the gym, the kids, again, when they go to school in the fall and spring, right? And it's raining and snowing, whatever the case might be. The kids, elementary school kids will have to leave the building, circle around the school just to get into those ground floor, especially if someone's on a wheelchair or they're not able to take the stairs.
Deputy Superintendent, did you have a comment on that? Yeah.
Yeah, I just want, Flory, thank you for asking the question, but I did want to just note that when the new Pickering is finalized and built, that the gym, the auditorium, the cafeteria in the current Pickering will become part of Sisson. So they gain that space and probably some classroom space once the new Pickering is built and they move into that building.
Okay, so we don't see a reason why they should be using the new Pickering.
Maybe for something special, but
Sure.
most likely they will use their own spaces at that point.
Okay, all right, that answers my questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Deb, because I think I misheard the question. I thought you were talking about Pickering people coming over to the old auditorium.
Member
Sorry,
Gately?
jumped over you. Lorraine has her hand up.
You're muted.
I'm unmuted. All right, sorry I'm late. I'm here. Please take my attendance. Okay, so we have a quorum, right?
Yes, we do. Thank you,
We
Lorraine.
will officially mark the record that you were
Okay,
present.
and Flory, I would have said the same thing as Deborah Gero did about the use of that space and not really having to go over to the new. Thank you. I'm gonna get off now.
Thanks.
Thank
So
you.
sorry about that confusion. So anyway, I'll just start here. So this is what you end up with the new Pickering, the parking, the loop drive, you know, everything's going in and out of Magnolia. Flory, this is that permanent ramp and stair system that we're gonna be constructing this summer. And then this orange area is the extent of the new Sisson playground. This will be painted as well, and there'll be a gate here and a gate here. But what we've done in this graphics is just shown, you know, if public safety needs to get through, you know, that gate would be opened and, you know, they can get to the back of the school. I won't go through all these slides, but I did want to, you know, so in July and, well, I'll go back where I was, right? So in May and June, you know, there might be some heavy equipment going here and the staff is parking down in the municipal lot. And consigli is, as they will throughout the project, coming in and out of the site off of Magnolia. So Canomo really shouldn't see a lot of action. Then when school is out, they'll be demolishing the modulars. They'll still be working in this area. Hopefully by then they have, you know, permission to go back and forth over their temporary bridges. And then they would be, you know, starting to construct this green line, which is a big retaining wall, right? Because we're scooping out all the earth here, and the new Pickering is going to be, the first floor and entrance is going to be down at the level of Magnolia Field. And then Flory, what I was saying, the second floor is going to actually exit out onto the existing, you know, north side of Sisson. Anyway, in September, when the kids come back to school, there'll be a demarcation here. There'll be a construction fence all around the site. And consigli will be working in this area. The new ramp and stair system will be in, and the new playground should be ready for action. So, you know, after that, there, you know, it's just a progression, and it's always the same thing with the schools over here and the constructions over here. And they start, you know, putting concrete and building up the building until it's done and ready for occupancy. So I just wanted to, we've been so focused on permitting and the logistics of how everything's going to work and making sure everything works fine for this summer and the rest of the school year, as well as progressing the drawings. But I wanted to make sure you guys understood this. And that's, I'll take any questions, but that's kind of the extent of our report.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. So Craig, I can either click slides or I can give it back to you.
You're doing a great job. You keep clicking.
Okay, there you go.
So we'll quickly go over what we have coming up. We've talked several times about the SEIR being submitted today. We have the neighborhood meeting coming up on May 28th. The construction start is June 3rd. The next SBC meeting is June 12th. And then we decided today that we would be extending our 60% construction document submission to July 12th instead of the June 28th that's shown here. And then we expect our MIPA process to be complete by June 30th. Next page.
All right.
And this is just a quick glimpse at the overall schedule. We're still on track with this. Again, starting early enabling construction work in June and pushing for completion in the fall of 2026. With the school opening the beginning of January. And that's where we stand with the schedule. Does anyone have any questions on the schedule?
Yeah, I do have a quick question on the schedule. Is that completion dates, does that include commissioning as well?
It right now it does, but again, we're monitoring where we're going to end up with this completion as we go. We've been pushed back on the start a bit, and you know, we need to see how we can get through this summer and get, you know, get started with the main construction, but we're trying to hold tight to that date.
Okay,
but
well, because I'm
it's
just
still
want
a
to say
little bit in flux right now.
we you know, we don't want to put you know, we don't want to get ourselves in trouble by saying if we bring a commissioning agent towards the tail end of the project, then he or she the firm finds issues with the buildings, right? Then now, you know, we can't occupy the
So the
space.
commissioning agent is already on board. They're reviewing drawings. They will continue to review submittals throughout the process. They will be making periodic site visits throughout the process. Also, Leftfield has a MEP specialist that comes every week during the process, as well as Consigley has their specialists as well that come in and work with the commissioning agent throughout the construction process. Plus, we will have a 10-month review period for commissioning and a final commissioning report due 10 months after construction. So
Okay.
we have that whole post-evaluation period as well.
All right, sounds good. Thanks.
Tom?
Just quick, you know, I drive down Magnolia a lot, so what is actually gonna transpire once you start the construction along there? Obviously, the fencing is coming down to the playground, access in and out of the playground, existing playground to, you know, facilitate building this building. What you know, as the neighbors and everybody around there, can they expect during this transition?
So this logistics plan shown here is what we expect the site to be like during
Yeah.
the summer months. And we are presenting this to the neighborhood on May 28th so that they have a good understanding of how things are going to change on the site and in and around their homes. And then we'll do it again once school's about to start so they understand what the conditions are going to be like when school starts. We'll try to keep everybody up to date with the varying phases of construction as we move forward with it.
Okay, just going back to the same thing. That's a sidewalk, so I'm sure that's gonna be closed during construction, it's gonna be removed. There isn't much of a sidewalk across the street. So it's just, what are the kids gonna do coming out of school? I mean, that's a major access point. Most of the parents parking along Magnolia to pick their children up. Obviously, there's gonna be a change in the routing, what we're gonna do with the children and everything. Just anticipating, so there's gonna be no sidewalk access, I'm just asking that. And that's just gonna be closed off, I assume, for the construction, correct?
Right.
I think this sidewalk on Magnolia here, Tom,
Yeah,
I think that'll be open. But you're right, they're not gonna be able to like cross the field and get to the parents, you know?
okay.
So
just,
I don't know if
yeah.
they have to walk around, you know what I mean? But
That's
I,
something that, yeah, you folks gotta take that into account. I mean, I don't have children going there, but That is a major access point all through that playground. So this is something, I mean, school department, everybody's gotta be on tune once you start this construction, where these children are gonna go after school and preschool, obviously.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Thank you.
Yes, we'll make sure we communicate all of that to the neighborhood at this meeting, plus before the end of the school is out. I mean, we did have one meeting with parents and staff, but we will provide information to take home with them, you know, before we get
Right.
at the end of school, and also provide information to them on what the conditions will be like when school starts back up.
I drive by there every day. I'm just giving my input.
Thank you.
We
Deb?
appreciate it. Deputy Superintendent.
Yeah, I just want, Mr. Mannion, you're absolutely right. And I was at Sisson, and Pickering today for a meeting with both staff, with Mike Donovan and Laura, Stockfish. And a teacher actually brought up, a few teachers brought up concerns. We were sharing with them the change in the truck pathway until this permit of these little bridges goes through, and it's impacting parking. So that was what the meeting was about. But
Yeah.
there were a few teachers that talked about that parents drive into the parking lot behind Rollies and comes down that road and like parks there and leave, you know, walks their kid, you know, so there's parents coming from all different directions. And one of the
Right.
suggestions from a teacher was, could we do a rolling, a rolling drop off and a rolling pickup, or could parents be communicated that they drop off up in the top of the parking lot and the kids would then walk down? Like, you're right. We have to think about how can we, you know, should we have Sisson do drop off and pick up on the Canomo side, Pickering do drop off and pick up on like the Magnolia side, but have to think about what that looks like. So those are things we really absolutely have to start thinking about and try and come up with some alternative plan.
It's busy on Perry Street, Magnolia in the afternoons, not so much in the morning because it's a drop off, but the pickup, they're all waiting for the children. As I said, I drive through an awful lot, I see it, and there's a little foresight into what these kids are gonna do come September, really, when the construction is well underway. Yeah.
Member Gately.
I just agree with Deb and Tom, and I was wondering if where the faculty will be parking up, you know, by Rollies and by what's the other restaurant? They're gonna use that parking lot to park. Could that be where the students from Pickering could drive in and drop off their children and be allowed, Mr. Mayor, to come out the other way, like go in and then come out the same way onto Wyoming? It's not allowed right now, but during construction, could we do that to alleviate the Pickering population?
We can have the project team look at that, yeah.
And also, we were thinking about a staggered start, weren't we?
Yes, we did a survey. Dr. Alvarez has the results of that survey. I had planned on meeting with the president of the teachers union tomorrow. I planned to give her a call. That meeting has been canceled, but I had planned to call her. But a decision has to be made by Dr. Alvarez on, you know, proceeding with a change in a start and bringing it to school committee. But where the survey's been done and now we're in analyzing and making a decision.
Yeah, I just wanted, Tom, I just wanted you to know that was one of the things we're thinking about, along with all these other things that we've discussed in our meetings. So thank you for your input. It's very on the money.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions? If not, I think that's a wrap for tonight.
We actually do have one more thing, Lynn.
Sorry.
Back
Oh,
on
sorry
May,
about that. I forgot about
yeah,
that.
back on March 27th, Flory brought up a couple questions about Consigli's workforce, and so they've put together this slide and can walk us through it.
Sure, thank you. Good evening, everyone. We wanted to take a couple minutes just to talk about our approach to diversity, equity, and inclusion, including inclusion, meaning local engagement, both Lynn and the greater Lynn area. I'm going to start on the right-hand side of our screen when we talk about the enterprise goals. And I just want to point out that DE&I is not only just a priority for the project, it's also a priority for Consigli as a company, and we take our goals very seriously. Contractually, we have MBE, Women Business Enterprise, and Minority Business Enterprise goals for the project at 4.2 and 8.8. And we're proud to report that based on a pending award, we already have commitments for MBE and WBE spend. So we're really excited about that. Right off the bat, we're starting off on a really strong foot. Additionally, we have workforce goals, tracking both women and minority workforce on the job site, and this is putting work in place. We don't have any actuals to date as we haven't put any work in place, but we will track the workforce throughout construction as, again, we're putting work in place. I want to point out that Consigli is signatory to the local carpenters and laborers. And we have over 650 carpenters, laborers, and masons on our staff, 7 of which tradespeople are Lynn residents, and 18 are residents of the greater Lynn area. And while we can't guarantee that we're going to have, as many Lynn residents as possible on the job site, that does mean that there will be more opportunities as we're pulling from those halls, which are local in both Malden and Wilmington. So there will be opportunities there. Additionally, when we look at some resources, we wanted to highlight some, we looked at some opportunities to connect with some local groups within Lynn to try to, again, boost our commitment to using Lynn businesses as much as possible. And while we're not a job placement service, if there are businesses that are looking, for example, to gain their DCAM certification, or individuals that are interested in joining a union, we're happy to make those connections. And whether that's through anyone on the committee or any of these organizations. One that's not included here, but we should mention is, the North Shore Workforce Board through Mass Hire. So there's a lot of different organizations, and we're happy to partner with them to help, expose folks to opportunities within construction and the project. And I'll turn it over to Brandon to talk a little bit about the last item on the page with some Lynn Vogue.
Yeah, so
Can
I know.
say one more thing? Can you speak at all about apprenticeships? I hate to throw you on this on you at the last minute, but I know that there was a question that came up about apprenticeship programs.
Sure, Brandon's going to talk about that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so
No, I'm
I think
talking about in terms of the unions.
I think one of the big focuses for your question was how do we get Lynn Vogue students on the job site as part of their co-op program. So we did meet with Fred Gallo, the principal at Lynn Vogue, trying to figure out what this looks like, what level of engagement we can have. So Consigli, as a company, we self-perform with our rig self-perform company, carpentry, laborers work, and masonry, not all of which we'll be doing on this project, but I know at least one of the ones we're interested in as a company is performing the concrete work. So we have on another project on our self-perform crew had a student from another vocational school working with our crew, which is something we're trying to work through the specifics of now and have looped Fred into what that would look like. The other thing that we can do is in our supplemental instructions to a lot of our contractors that are going to be bidding, we can push them to use not only local labor, but also any existing connections that already exist with Lynn Vogue. So we don't have a control over every single subcontractor that's going to be on the job because it is Chapter 149A. We don't have the ability to pick all of the contractors after their pre-qual process, but we can use the tools we do have to push them as much as we can to use that existing program. I know Fred has a high hopes of getting as many people on or students into this job site to really see what a commercial project of this scale looks like. So we're working hand in hand with him to see what we can do as we get closer here.
How will these numbers be reported? Is this a monthly during construction months, or how do you know the changes?
As we buy out scopes of work for the enterprise goals, we're going to update that. So each sub we go through and figure out what percentage of WV-MBE participation we have, and we track that through the multiple bid packages we're going to have. So that'll come less frequent, but it will be at the beginning of the project.
Okay.
And then workforce goals are all tracked through certified payroll. We do that as a monthly report that gets handed in. Every single person who's working on the job site, those companies have to report to us with their certified payroll. And then our in-house DEI compliance department helps assemble all those together, and we track where we are every month, and it'll likely become part of this meeting each time that we meet.
Sounds good. Thanks.
You're welcome.
And where are we with the subs? Have they been chosen yet? They signed in?
So the first bid package we have is that site enabling package. So it'll be our site work subcontractor. That's the package that's in getting signatures from the city as we speak. So the subcontractor we landed on was Jay Dorenzo. They're the ones we're going to be working on for all the site work, and they'll be the first ones on site. We won't have another, and then we also have a trade contractor for miscellaneous metals for the railings associated with that ramp system at the back of the building. We will not have another large sub on board until we get through this next package we're working through now, which is structural steel, concrete, fireproofing, and below ground waterproofing. So we're still a few weeks away from that group of subcontractors getting on. We're going through the process of reviewing pricing, bids, and that whole step right now for that group. So about a month away from another group of subs getting onboarded.
So you're a ways out from electrical, plumbing, HVAC, and such.
Correct. Yeah. Right now that's tracking for the fall of this year. Yep. We got to get a little further with the documents through Gene's process that he laid out, and then we can get them on board in November, December, January timeframe.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Lorraine, did you have a question?
I wanted to ask if they use the North Shore labor. That's what we use for our labor force here in Lynn, North Shore labor. And then I'm really glad that you have addressed Lynn Tech. I think that's an awesome idea.
I am not personally familiar with North Shore labor, but I can look into it and certainly get back to you, Lorraine.
Yeah, and I can just add that since we're signatory to the laborers union, we use local 22, which is located in Malden. We'll look into the North Shore labor, as you mentioned. There may be a chance that that's not a union shop, in which case we wouldn't be able to use it for some trades, but we'll certainly look into it.
Yeah, that's the labor council. So the unions are members of the council.
Okay.
Yeah, they're affiliated.
Thank
This
you.
job's gonna be built 100% union, I hope. I have 103 members, so.
It is not 100% union. Seeing as is Chapter 149A, all those trade subs, some of them will end up being union, some of them will be open shop. Any mason, carpenter, or labor on the job site, or sorry, carpenter or labor on the job site is going to be union because Consigli itself is signatory with those groups. But it will be a mix.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Just a quick note, when you talk to the chamber, it's also worth talking to the North Shore Latino Business Association as well.
we will do that.
Thank you. All right, well, thank you so much to the product team. That Article 97 is a huge milestone. So thanks everybody for your work on that. That neighborhood meeting went really well. We had a lot of folks there. So thank you for that. We're looking forward to the next one in a couple weeks. And the school department did great work responding to some of the comments on the site. So thank you everyone for that. And thanks to this whole committee for all the thoughtful questions and input. And the planning department, Laura Drago, is doing amazing work on the enrollment, working with the school department there. So everyone is doing their part, and we are making tremendous progress. And I just want to thank each of you for all your help. So thank you all. And
Thank you.
Thank you.
Motion to adjourn.
Can,
second, all in favor? Aye.
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 Thank
Bye.
you.
Good
Good
night, everyone.
night. Thank
Thank
you.
Night,
you.
everyone.
Aye.
Let me do it.